Let's hear from Steve Sarkisian about the Iowa State Cyclones. He met with the media yesterday via Zoom, his media availability. Talked about a lot of different things, even got into the Michigan sign stealing scandal a little bit. He's been asked about it multiple times, but his answer about how to remedy this issue is really interesting. So we'll get to that too coming up a little bit later on. But let's start with Sark's opening comments talking about this week and the Iowa State Cyclone matchup this weekend.
Obviously, great opportunity for our team this Saturday night. Another road game, conference play at night on the road. Hostile environment. It's kind of been a common theme. I didn't do it by accident when I talked about what I talked about in preseason and at Big 12 Media Days of recognizing, that this is our opportunity to go on the road and go on a mission to try to win a Big 12 championship. And we've put ourselves in position to be competing for it in November. But we also understand when we go on the road, the environments that we're going into. And so I think for our players, it's really important that we continue to play with poise and composure. We need great leadership, and we need to execute the game at a high level. And I think that our players understand that. And I think that they've done a good job this week of preparing for that. I was really excited about just the way they practiced today. I mean, we had awesome energy. They were fast. And that's the style of game that we need to play. And so I'm looking forward to the opportunity, and I know that our players are as well.
All right, that's Sark talking about this week. One thing that obviously blew up was the comments of the offensive lineman, Gerard Hufford, I believe is his name. He made comments. We've played them, and you guys have heard them. We've read them, and everybody knows by now what they are. But Sark was asked about the bulletin board material from the trash talk from the Iowa State offensive lineman. Here's what Steve Sarkisian had to say.
I view it in a sense of, the reality of it is, as much of that gets said kind of publicly week to week or not week to week, I think our players hear things, indirectly. And we try not to just put too much into that. We try to focus on our mission, and we've been on a mission since week one, and that mission continues Saturday night. So we try to keep the focus on us. We try to be enamored with what we need to do to play the game at the level that we're capable of playing.
There you go. That's Sark talking about. He's not really concerned with the bulletin board material. That's what he's telling us. Trust me, in the locker room, within the inner circle of trust, it's being promoted. It's being talked about. Yes, it's being discussed, being promoted, being talked about. They might have it. That just kind of the quote steel frame on one of the TVs in the locker room. Guarantee you. We've already seen what the players had to say on social media, so you definitely think the players, it's top of mind for them. Sark also was asked about the Iowa State team overall. This is the strengths of the team and what he thought Iowa State could potentially expose against Texas. Here's Sark talking about Iowa State's strengths.
Well, I think first of all, just look at the ball, right? They've, especially here in the second half of the season, that they take care of the ball really well offensively, and B, they create turnovers. And the ball, as I've touched on now, I don't know how many times, is the number one stat in football that pertains to winning and losing football games. And that turnover margin is so critical. And I think they do a great job of capitalizing on turnovers when they get them. They do a good job of possessing the ball on offense, and then they do a good job of scoring when they get into the red area of getting points on the board. So that's the big picture of kind of, how the style of play, but I respect the heck out of Matt and his staff of, just their coaching, and how they coach the game, and they know who they are on defense. They know who they are offensively. They do a nice job on special teams. And so you need to play all three phases of football when you play them. And then you need to make sure that the ball is at the forefront of what you do.
He's right about the ball because right now they have the fewest turnovers in conference, only with 8 total, and they're tied with Oklahoma for first in turnover margin in the Big 12. They have the lowest turnover rate in Big 12 play, just conference games alone, 5.3%, and Iowa State is first in turnover on downs rate, which means the fewest turnovers on downs. So they take care of the football, and they want to possess the football for as long as possible too. They 120th in plays per minute, so they're slow. And you don't want them to convert, and you don't want them to hold the football long because you won't get it back. They want to play a real ball control style of football. Okay, so Sark also was asked about Rocco Becht. He's the quarterback for the Iowa State Cyclones, also the son of Anthony Becht. Remember the tight end that played in the league? He played for the Jets for a while, played a long time in the league, but that's his dad. And Sark was asked about Rocco Becht, the young quarterback for Iowa State. Here's Sark.
Well, he's gotten a lot better from the beginning of the year to where he is today. And again, I think that's a sign of a good program that their players are developing and they're getting better. Um, what he does is I think they do a nice job with their RPO game and taking advantage of those throws with the run game and tying it together. I think too, he's mobile enough, especially with all the sprint outs that they do and the things on third down. He throws well on the run to extend drives on third down. And three, from my perspective, he looks really coachable because when they get those opportunities that they're trying to create, predicated on coverages, he's taking advantage of them now, and there's a lot less hesitation in his style of play. So again, I think that he's a good player who's kind of trending like this. He's been getting better and better as the season's gone on.
He has gotten better and better. I brought that up yesterday. You go look at Rocco Becht, his completion percentage in August and September, just those months alone was 60%. First month for him as a starter, 7.1 yards per attempt. He had 5 interceptions and 9 touchdowns. But in the month of November, just these 2 games, he's at 8.6 yards per attempt from 7.1. He's got 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, and he's at over 71% completion percentage. And if you go look at the last 2 months, he's had 6 touchdowns and only 2 interceptions, had 5 in the first month of the season. So he has really settled down and really kind of assumed control of the offense. You can tell that. Jahdae Barron actually said that too, that he looks a lot more comfortable in the last couple of games. He's really taken a leap. It'll be, obviously Texas' task to try to make him look like an inexperienced quarterback.
Pressure, 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 Ron.
Yes,
I don't think if you're Pete Kwiatkowski, you can trust your secondary right now to win coverage, right? You've gone through the numbers all week long, and we've seen it over the last month. So young quarterback, maybe taking steps, but man, you can heat them up. That would be my argument. I think, look, Iowa State has a huge offensive line. They got a guy 6'9" and like 340 pounds playing tackle for them. I believe if I was looking at the depth chart, but they're kind of slow-footed.
Yes,
so Texas should be able to be quicker and get after them. So bring pressure, bring those twists in those games they've been playing, and see if this offensive line can pick it up. And if you can get in his face, and that's where you got to feel like Texas is going to have an advantage, that interior pressure that collapses a pocket. You got to stop the run first, but Texas has been great at that. Ask K-State, ask Alabama. Texas can stop your run game. Because Abu Sama,
man. Abu Sama's a good player.
He's the freshman running back from Des Moines.
Yeah, he's averaging 6.5 yards per rush, but in conference play, he's at 8 yards per rush in conference play. And in the month of November, he's over 10 yards per rush. It's some freaky, crazy stuff. So he's trending.
Freshman, and again, this is what
the third. Abu Sama the third.
Well, he's the third one. But listen, well, that's the thing. I know we get a lot of texts from the fans. Come on, this Iowa State guys, they're not any good. Well, look, this team is getting better. Let's not be the entitled Texas fans that don't realize, wait a second, this was a team that was rocked by a gambling scandal to start the year. They lost a bunch of starters. So, of course, they were going to have a learning curve and struggle early and not look like a very good team. But again, Texas should win this game. No one's saying that. But don't go in, and that's why I think Sark's been so pressed of a real hard week of practice. He said he coached him as hard as I have in a long time this week, understanding how dangerous this team can be if you let them get a lead. If you have to play, their style of ball,
that's exactly right.
You better be ready. And they've got a freshman running back who's getting better. You just said it, 10 yards a carry. They've only given up 4 explosive runs all season. Think about that. The Texas, Jonathan Brooks gets 4 explosive runs in a game.
Mm-hmm. They only allowed 4 20-plus yard rushes. Yep.
All year long.
Yep.
That's like Georgia on defense. So they're really solid and they're really sound. And now they have this freshman running back who's improving and a quarterback who's improving. And they have to feel confident because they almost beat Texas here last year. That is the cause for concern. because Texas, yes, they're more talented than Iowa State. But the last 4 trips into Ames for Texas, their offense has scored 21, 17, 7, and 0.
Mm-hmm.
So you be careful. Was all I would say.
Exactly.
And I think listening to Sark this week, Monday and Thursday, you can tell he's fully aware of it, and he's expressed that to his team.
Matt Campbell's a good coach. He knows Matt Campbell's going to have a good game plan. And John Haycock is a damn good coach. He's going to have a good game plan.
And now we don't have Jonathan Brooks.
Yep.
So we need someone else to step up. They're going to come in on fire in their black uniforms and the blackout and all those things.
And you got an injured quarterback. You know,
I mean, I know it
Quinn's not
sounds silly
100%.
to some people, but you got to treat this like the Alabama game because it's that important.
It is trust me, it is a very serious, considering how you've closed out 3 of the last 4 games. This is a extremely, I think, serious tone you got to take in this game. You're on the road. It's going to be they're going to be hyped up just because it's their big game, because they know it's the farewell tour. They'll never play Texas again unless it's a bowl game somewhere down the line in the distant future. They're going to be hyped for it.
Well, you heard
and Jared Hufford kind of gave you a glimpse into how hyped they're going to be.
Yeah, the quiet was spoken on Tuesday.
He said the quiet part out loud. He told you. He's like, oh, man, Texas entitled. Got to put them in their place. Basically, that was Matt Campbell's message to the team. He probably wasn't supposed to tell it to the media and to the world, but I guarantee you that's Matt Campbell's message to the team. How do we know that? Because Breece Hall said the same thing after they beat Texas a couple of years ago. 5-star culture beats 5-star players. Boom. That's his message. So you know what he thinks of you.
Yeah, well,
you know what he thinks
take
about
that
you.
to the field if you're Texas.